Schumer asks, that's right, Senator Schumer asks whether Democrats should make marijuana a priority ahead of the November elections, you guys. That's right. In a new message to supporters, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is asking where marijuana decriminalization should fit in among priorities for Democrats in Congress as this year's elections approach. Cannabis reform, one of more than a dozen policy-related options that respondents can check off on the new survey, which asked for their input on the party's legislative agenda. In a quote, with less than 5 months until Election Day, Chuck and Senate Democrats want to hear from you. An email blast says, what are your top priorities for this summer, they ask. Decriminalized marijuana is one of the 13 named priorities, along with codifying abortion rights and access to contraception, fighting climate change, protecting worker rights, advancing LGBTQ equality, canceling student debt, and passing gun safety laws. In a quote, the race to hold the Senate majority is intensifying. The next few months represent our last chance to push for real progress before the polls open. Schumer's emailed message says of the survey, which is a common list building tactic for political fundraising. In an additional quote, knowing what issues matter most to you right now not only helps me set the agenda for our Democratic Senate majority, it also shows voters that Democrats and our last line of defense against the extreme MAGA agenda, the email linking to the survey adds. Schumer's earlier this year circulated a separate public petition asking people to show their support for marijuana banking reform. In April, Schumer and Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden, Democrat from Oregon, and Senator Cory Booker, Democrat from New Jersey, and a coalition of other Democratic senators officially reintroduced a bill to federally legalize marijuana. That came a day after the Justice Department announced that it's moving to reschedule cannabis in a historic policy shift, and polls have indicated for years that a majority of Democrats supporting ending cannabis prohibition, but it's also grown into a bipartisan issue, with a Fox News poll last month finding that 69% of U.S. voters, including 55% of GOP voters, saying they support legalization. The poll found majority support among all ages, races, income levels, education levels, and geographic regions too. The only group with majority opposition was those who identified as very conservative. But even a majority of certain unexpected demographics, such as 65 plus and white evangelicals, back the reform, you guys. Additionally, Fox News found that 59% of people who are expected to vote for former President Donald Trump this November are in favor of legalizing marijuana, compared to 80% of expected Biden voters. Well, do you think that enough cannabis Democrats are going to fill out this survey and push cannabis over the top to make it a top hill agenda for the Senate? I don't think that they will, but nonetheless, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. And this is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News Hour. What do y'all have to say?
I don't see how it's going to happen. Yeah, go ahead, Rochelle.
I was just going to say, a lot of us were shaking our heads no when you asked that question here.
Yeah, I mean, at least y'all are honest.
Chuck is like the head carrot farmer.
I feel like them throwing out this poll is their biggest way to just basically say, hey, you know what? We're not going to get anything done. We're going to pass the ball back onto the people, and then we can say that the people didn't voice enough support, so we didn't tackle that issue. We only tried to tackle the issues that we definitely couldn't handle and that had the highest support in this poll. And then they're going to use that as their cover base to shield themselves from the arrows.
What's coming is a race to try and get public attention to your issues. And I mean, today's Supreme Court decision and what's coming down the road with trying to control guns. I mean, there's a whole lot of things. Besides, we got two old guys. I think maybe we should slip a gummy to each of them before the debate and see how they perform.
Dale,
Might make it a little more interesting.
Dale, can you elaborate on that Supreme Court decision that came down this morning?
Well, the Supreme Court basically said that the people who brought the case don't have standing. They objected morally and spiritually and all sorts of things, and the court said, nah. you don't have the standing to go in front of the court to argue mifepristone should not be available.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have some skin in the game, and they basically kicked him out of court. That's not going to be the end of it, because the majority of early term abortions are from mifepristone or some other abortifacient like this. They're sent through the mails right now. You can get them delivered. And this is going to be a thorny issue, because even the Republicans, the females in the Republican Party, are not happy with where they're going on this, and that's going to take all the oxygen out of the room.
Yep.
Maybe not all of it. There's some things coming. The immunity for the president and stuff like that is going to suck up a lot of oxygen. And even though reform in cannabis is very important to us in the industry, for people not in the industry, we've got to try to get their attention.
It's a back burner. It's a back burner issue for them.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Yep, I think it's going to become a back burner issue for them until we have Schedule 3, and then they realize that they can't go and buy weed at the stores anymore, and then all of a sudden it's going to become an even hotter button issue.
Well, if people get to see the pissing matches within the government between the DEA and the health services and the executive branch, and they're not going to be able to get shit done. And all of us who are pushing for social equity in this movement are just going to take it in the shorts.
Yep.
There's none of us with a record or any of these other criteria is ever going to get a Schedule 3 DEA manufacturing license. Just you're smoking crack if you think that.
100%, Dale. I totally agree with that assessment.
100%.
Oh, that's cute, Rico. That's pretty cute. 100%. That's pretty
That was a good one.
Yeah, look at that. Even Rochelle chimed in on that. Look at that. It must have been really good, Rico.
Good.
Man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh man, it's
just more of the same from these guys, bro. They pander.
Somebody needs to hop in the time machine and go take care of Newt Gingrich in the 80s, and so we don't have like this set in stone two-party system bullshit. Because I really did like your comment. I hopped in the comments late, and I did like your comment, Jason, and you said that is more of a turnover at the 1 yard line rather than a fumble.
Yep.
Because it does go back, like they're not going to get anything passed, and then the Democrats are going to get back in power. They're not going to get anything passed.
Yep.
And we just end up in this same damn cycle.
Yep.
Every single time.
Then Republicans are going to hold all the branches of government, and it's going to be the Republicans' turn to control the ball. So that is a total classic turnover.
It's more of a soccer game than a football game, because the shit almost always ends in a tie, and you don't have a clear winner. And then you know what?
I wish
people just get drunk.
I wish politics was more like rugby.
Elaborate.
Well, I mean, because like people really, in rugby, like you have no pads, you have no protection. You're just running and gunning.
Yeah.
You know
what I'm saying? Like they really know how to tackle.
Yes.
They drink beer out of their dirty ass boots too.
Oh, and they still have leather helmets.